All right, welcome in 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. As you know, we are starting a whole new fun, exciting format here on the show. I've always enjoyed doing interviews, but I realize how valuable people's time is. So we're going to do these nice, fun, quick hits, kind of stay in line with the name of the show. 5 minutes, maybe 10, probably not, but we're going to be a lot closer than we've ever been before. So we're going to do that. If you guys don't know today's guest, then you haven't been paying attention to, I don't know, the car business for at least the last 15 years, as far as I can tell. But a great human, great individual, great supporter of the car business. Bill Wittenmeyer, how are you today, man?
Man, I'm doing awesome, Sean. How about you?
Good. I love that. I love that answer. I told you that pre-show. I love that. I love when people get excited. So the segment's called What's on Your Mind? So, Bill, we asked the question, what is on Bill's mind?
I was thinking a lot recently about culture and how that gets thrown around a lot, and people talk about culture. And I saw something interesting and then I paraphrased it a little bit. It was like good culture does not make up for bad employees or bad managers, right? There's both of those. And it's interesting how, culture, we try to do things to create culture. And the reality is culture takes years to create. But it can be destroyed in days. So I think that's a really interesting thing.
I love that. Because I've been having this discussion with people. I have a lot of friends who live out in tech valleys or where have you. They're in the tech world, right? And they talk about their offices and all this, crazy shit they have in there. And I think to myself, like, I don't get it. Okay, like I don't get it, because like I've been a satellite employee now for a better part of almost 15 years, right? My productivity is through the roof, Bill. It's through the roof. How is it okay that you treat people in a certain way as long as they have like a coffee bar and like this, that, or the other thing? Like that doesn't make up for poor pay, non-competitive action, lack of diversity, whatever tips your fancy. So let me ask you, Bill, how is it that can be managed? Like, how can you get the best of both worlds? Because I know you've been in offices, and I know you also live remote. Well, how do we get the best of both?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been remote employee for 20 years, and all of my teams have been. And I think it begins with character. First of all, you have to hire for the right character, because not everybody's that way. That's for certain. The other thing is, it's funny how the psychology of that stuff, as you mentioned, in office and all, like the mystery meat they used to serve us at the dealership on Saturdays to keep us there from going anywhere for lunch. And it's like, I never got any of it. By the time I got to the lunchroom, it was already decimated by the other guys because I was too busy. I was hungry anyway. It didn't do me any good. And I think the same thing goes into place. Like, first you have to hire for the right character. Anybody can work remote, but not everybody can be productive remotely. So I think that's a really important thing. Our teams currently are still remote. We do in market. We think face-to-face is still important, particularly in belly-to-belly sales. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would guarantee 60% of the workload that our teams do is remote. And I think we hire for the right person with the right character, and then we hold them accountable with the right, goals and activities every day. And that's it. It's a very simple thing. I think we overcomplicate it.
Dude, I agree, man. People talk to me all the time about it. We've been at it. Let's see, this is 2025. So we've been around 12 years as a company. I was remote for a few years before that with my corporate job. And I went right from retail into remote.
Yeah.
Right. So like, that's like a total detox. Like my first year, I was very confused. I didn't really understand.
The first few weekends, I was looking around for something to do because I didn't realize after I left retail and got onto the other side, it was like, what was I doing?
It's funny, dude. My wife thought she was going to be all stoked. She's like, oh, it's going to be great. You're going to be home. Yeah, man. Ask her how she felt after the first 10 days of me being home, being like, so what are we doing? How are we going to get shit working today? Right. So, yeah, that's funny you say that. A couple of things I want to circle back to. Character. And you said everyone can work remote, and then you followed up with, but not everyone can be productive. I like that. That's a nice PC way of saying it, because I would have led with not everyone can work remote, period. And I've incurred it. You've incurred it. We want to hire the right people, but you haven't, and you've missed, and you feel that miss, you know. And I don't forget the misses, Bill. Like, I'm always proud of my big hires, but I don't forget the misses. How about you?
Yeah, same. I think that really goes, any top succeed people probably start to look at, I remember my losses more than I remember the wins, right? And the losses hurt more than the wins are great. So yeah, I think you can be misled. I think the biggest thing people make mistakes on is they're hiring from resume and for experience. I frankly don't care about experience. Again, it's back to character. If they could have all the experience in the world, but they can't get their ass out of bed in the morning, then it's no good to me, right? If they're not in front of somebody, they're not doing me any good, no matter how much talent they have. So I think it starts with, what is that interior person? What is that drive there? And how can I curtail that? And how can I, form that? And then help to lead them, and give them. You can't give somebody motivation, right? If you got a motivational poster on your wall, then you probably need to go ahead and quit, raise the white flag, and surrender, because that's not going to do it. That's not going to get you up. It's not going to make that next call. It's not going to do that next email. Not to have that next conversation. So I think those are really important things.
Yeah, I agree. You said something about overcomplicating, and so I have my version of overcomplicating. I hate meetings. I've always hated meetings. And so I limit them. I have them as quickly as possible. I try to just get to the bottom of it. You work for a much larger organization and have worked for larger organizations than that in the past. Yeah. How does Bill manage the meeting world part of
it's a good question.
Because you see these kids' calendars, man. It's kind of fucking crazy.
It is. I think we all learn different ways. And my learning curve has always been by doing what others didn't do or doing the opposite of what they did, right? I've seen a lot of OEMs particularly like to load up the calendar so that you have a spot filled every day with a meeting. I'm the exact opposite. I'll give you an example. I was just having a conversation with another leader of another company last week, and he was asking me about my national sales call. We do a national sales call every Monday morning. And, we've got 50 different people on there. I have 7 different departments that report in, and we do it in less than 15 minutes. Because there's no need to go longer than that. It's not a training session, right? I don't need you to tell me what you think you're going to do this week. We're reporting on things that are pertinent, the activities that we manage, back to that not being overcomplicated, right? I really have basically 5 simple things that I look at every single day, and I expect everybody else to do the exact same thing. And if I do that and I execute those flawlessly, then we'll have success.
Every time, all the time, right? That's what I say. People tell me, oh, why don't you look at different data points? Why don't you come look at this or look at that or try this report? Because for the last decade, I've looked at a specific set of data points that has guided my philosophy on what I look at in advertising, how I look at dealers spending money, where I look at return, whether it be from CRM data, whether it be from analytics data, whether it be from website data. You don't have to go find new and exciting shit. What you can do is just do, as you said, be flawless at it. Be flawless at it, Bill. It's hard, though, for guys when they get up to be big, right? Like it's easy for us. I have a team of less than 10 people. We can execute. Talk to me about what that's like at scale, though, dude, because you've done it well across the board with eLeads and now at DO.
Yeah.
What's the key there for you?
I probably back to what I just looked at. Don't overcomplicate it. People feel like more words makes it more valuable, and that's not true, right? And same goes for activities or data points that we're looking at. Yes, do I need to sometimes dive down further than those 4 or 5 data points? Absolutely. If something's not operating as expected or I'm not getting the expected result, then sure, we'll dive down deep. But that's not every day. If I'm having to do that every day, then I fucked up somewhere. That's my problem. That's not my team's problem. That's not the company's problem. So I think that, in fact, the more you have, the less you need to look at to manage. Believe in your teams. I always tell people I let my leaders lead, first of all. I will certainly give them advice and input and feedback as needed. But at the same time, if you have the right people and you have the right processes in place and not overcomplicated, 4 or 5 processes, and you manage those and you execute on them flawlessly, you will get the desired outcome that you're looking for. You just have to make sure that you figured out in the first place.
And I think, and I think you just alluded to it, but I feel the same way, that if I'm looking at those five things I look at, right, and I do it that way, if something seems off, I know where to go dig deeper. But to spend my time digging there every day to look, when we first got hired by our now biggest client, our longest standing client, one of the first things he said to me in a meeting was, don't ever, while you work with me, confuse activity with results.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, what does he mean by that? So literally, me and my business partner left that night. We're at a dinner. I'm like, so is he trying to tell me I should do less, get more? He's like, nah, I think he's saying more to you. Like, don't come to him with a laundry list of the 30 things you did. if nothing over here on the ledger changed. And damn it, it has been the ethos of our company this entire time, because I'm not interested in managing my people's day to day, Bill. I don't have time for. I'm just not interested. And if that's the case, we don't need to do this anymore.
100%. Look, there are people that are out there that are like that need that. I tell people that in interviews all the time. There's basically two types of people. There's the kind that, they have to have a book and a manual that tells them when to eat lunch, when to take a bathroom break, when to make this phone call. And that's not me. And that's okay. The world needs those people too. But if you're looking for, that type of management style, that's not what you're going to get with me. And that's not the expectation. I'm looking for more of the entrepreneur, like I want to go out, self-starters, get it done, et cetera. But again, you have to define that early and make that clear, right? So that you are getting the right people and you don't make a misstep and you don't have somebody that is expecting that type of management. And then they're disappointed and so are you. And it's a lose-lose.
Yeah, it's that transparency up front. It's about people talking with one another from the get. And I've been talking about it recently with people. It's not just, you have to set reasonable expectations. Setting expectations is not enough, because most people are very broad with expectations. They're not as specific as they should be to let people know just up front exactly what it is. So Bill, look, this is already blazed by. You're incredible. We're going to have to do this again. On the way out, though, leave us with that key piece of advice for managing today's younger employees, Bill, because I hear a lot about it. I get a lot of complaints. I've got young people work for me. I love it. I got people older than me work for me. I love it. I don't really get into that, but I hear a lot. Bill, how do we work with the younger folks? And I know you do a great job of it.
I think the biggest thing is we need to do less email, less Slack, less non-interpersonal communication, and pick up the phone, right? I tell my people all the time, just pick up the phone, have a conversation. Like what you can get done in a 3-minute conversation with clarity versus, the murkiness that can come through either email or text or chat or any of these other different devices is incredible. And I think we depend on that too much. We hide behind that, and it becomes very easy to get into that world. So I always tell people, just pick up the phone, have a conversation. It's truly amazing what you can get done in that. And that's how you manage people. If you're authentic and you have those authentic conversations, I'm not talking about being so real that I'm telling you, how I felt this morning when I got up, or, I'm sad because, my older dog is getting old. Not that. I'm just saying, just be open, to being open, and have those conversations, and you'll be amazed what happens.
I totally agree. And yeah, it is weird when you pick the phone up and somebody feels compelled to tell you about that. Not weird, but like, people find it odd of me. Like, I'll sit and I'll entertain those conversations, because that's, in the moment, that's what's important to that person.
Absolutely.
So what do I care? If I can have a 10-minute phone call that I thought would be 5, okay, who gives a shit? Because that person feels invested in, and I feel invested in them. And that's sort of, I tell people all the time, the one thing I can't train is to give a shit.
Yeah.
I can't. I've tried. I cannot train you to give a shit about my company and personally that isn't yours. But the way we do that is by giving people who work here a piece of what we all get. And that's, that's sort of, it's sort of an ESOP type thing. Not really. It's more or less formal than that. But the point is that if we all win, then we're all going to win where it matters most to people in the pocketbook area. So
yeah, 100%.
Bill, man, you've done a great job of what you do. We love you for it. Thank you so much for being on the show. And we're definitely going to do this again, man. Thanks a lot.
You got it, Sean. Appreciate it. Hope you have an awesome one.
We will, folks. Thanks a lot for joining us. We do appreciate it. Go out and have yourselves a wonderful week. And tune in next week, because we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about the word perfection, because I think it's a load of bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why next week. Thanks a lot. We'll see you then. Have a great week.